Hello, so this is my teaching demo for my skills lesson plan. My name is Marielle Jenquin and this is for SPED 414. So, 5th grade boys and girls, today you will be learning how to use the study skill strategy compare and contrast. To compare something means to see what's the same, and then contrasting is seeing which things are different. So why is this skill important? It helps us see what's the same and what's different between two things. This is a great strategy we can use after we read a story. So the first step on how to compare and contrast. First, you'll need to choose what two things you want to compare and contrast. So what do you want to learn more about? It can be anything. It can be characters, settings, events, anything. Step number 2. One thing will go on the left side of the chart and the other thing will go on the right side of the chart. So once you've chosen the two things, the first thing will go over here, then the second thing will go on this right side. Underneath these columns, that's where we'll write what's different. In the middle of the column, we'll write what's similar, so what's the same. So right under here, we'd write what these two things have in common. Okay, so here I have given you an example. The two examples I have are Cinderella and Peter Pan. So you can see over here I have some differences. Cinderella is a girl. Then you can see on this side Peter Pan is a boy. Cinderella wears a glass slipper and Peter Pan has a lot of friends. Some things that they have in common is that they both have a fairy and they are both very kind. Okay, so boys and girls, now it's going to be your turn. We are going to be reading Harold the Hungry Plant. So first of all, we'll go ahead and look at this story preview. I'll go ahead and read it to you. Harold the Hungry Plant wants more than anything to taste a red jelly bean, which is his owner's favorite treat. He's tired of only getting insects and worms all the time. Will Harold ever get to taste a red jelly bean? Read the story to find out. So right now I would have the students break off into buddies and I would have them whisper reading to one another. When they are finished, I'd have them raise their hand to let the teacher know they're done. And then once the entire class is finished, we would go ahead and practice the compare and contrast chart together. So class, right now I would have the compare and contrast chart written on the whiteboard and we would be completing it together as a class. So I would actually have the students come up and fill in the blanks on their own with a little guidance from myself. So class, here on the board we have Harold eating insects on one side and then Harold eating a jelly bean. So these are the two things that I've given you to compare. I've also filled in a row myself so you can see insects taste spicy to Harold, and then I also put that the jelly beans taste sweet. Another thing they have in common is that both of the foods help him grow. So class, I'd have the class come up and fill in the blanks on their own. Okay, so once we had finished that activity, I would hand out our end of the day activity. So what we're going to have you do is I'm going to have you compare yourself to Harold. So I would hand out this chart to the students. You can see it's already filled in on the top. I have Harold on one side, and then I'll have the students write their name on the other side. Those would be the two things that they're contrasting, and then the similarities would be in the center. So on the left-hand side, I've already filled out that Harold's a plant and he eats insects and he eats one meal per week. Students, I hope you eat more than one meal per week. So for example, you could write how many meals you eat per week on your side. But basically I'd have the students fill in the rest of this chart on their own. And when you are completed with this chart, just go ahead and make sure your name's on it, and then you can turn it into the work completed basket. And then you can silently read to yourself until everyone's finished, and we'll move on to the next activity. Thank you.